This is Module 7. I, Andre Ijan, and Kim Hipona will discuss Lesson 3, Financial Rehabilitation and Insolvency. First is we need to understand the purpose and scope of FRIA law to encourage debtors, both juridical and natural persons, and their creditors to collectively and realistically resolve and adjust competing claims and property rights. Republic Act number 10142, or otherwise known as the Financial Rehabilitation and Insolvency Act of 2010. So for us to be familiar, juridical person means ito yung mga non-human legal entity like corporations, organizations, partnerships, which are authorized by law with duties and rights. And yung natural persons naman, ito yung mga individual debtors or yung mga masasabi natin na citizens of the Philippines. Basically, FRIA is a law which governs in the rehabilitation or liquidation of debtors. May it be a sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or an individual debtor. It guarantees a timely, fair, transparent, effective, and efficient rehabilitation or liquidation of debtors. So under this law, rehabilitation refers to the restoration of the debtor to a condition of successful operation and solvency. Solvency means ito yung a debtor's assets exceeds its liabilities. But when rehabilitation is not feasible, it is in the interest of the state to facilitate a speedy and orderly liquidation of these debtors' assets and the settlement of their obligations. So meaning rehabilitation under FRIA law means it maintains to continue business operations while liquidations preserves their assets in order to sell them. Or in other words, liquidation is a process by which assets are converted into cash. The proceedings involved under FRIA are considered as in rem or remedies, which means that it binds the whole world. Jurisdiction over all persons affected by the proceedings shall be considered as acquired upon publication of the notice of the commencement of the proceedings in any newspapers of general circulation in the Philippines. See, the definition of a debtor is important to be able to determine if the parties may avail of the proceedings provided by FRIA. The term debtor covers a sole proprietorship duly registered with the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI, a partnership duly registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission or SEC, a corporation duly organized and existing under Philippine laws, or an individual debtors who has become an insolvent. So ang insolvent, it is the key of this special law. Ang insolvent means kabaliktaran lang ng solvency. It means liabilities are greater than these assets, or a or an entity with a financial conditions wherein the debtor is generally unable to pay its or his liabilities as they fall due in the ordinary course of business. So, yon basta ma-accomplish lang yung mga conditions na yan first para makapag-avail or makapag-successfully file a petition for rehabilitation under FRIA or to gain its benefits also. But however, the term debtor does not include banks, insurance companies, pre-need companies, and national and local government agencies or units. Dahil yung mga banks, insurance companies na yan is they are governed or may ginagamit silang specific special law para sa kanila. Rehabilitation under the FRIA law. So as explained kanina, rehabilitation refers to the restoration of the debtor to a condition of successful operation and solvency. If it is shown that its continuance of operation is economically feasible and its creditors can recover by way of the present value of payments projected in the plan, more if the debtor continues as a going concern than if it is immediately liquidated. So rehabilitation under the FRIA law has three types, namely court supervised rehabilitation, pre-negotiated rehabilitation, and out-of-court formal restructuring. So first type is court-supervised rehabilitation. It may be initiated through voluntary or voluntary proceeds if it is initiated by the debtor or by both of the debtor and the creditor jointly. And involuntary, meaning if it is initiated by the debtor, by the creditor of the debtor. So first is voluntary proceedings. Voluntary proceedings may be initiated by an insolvent debtor through filing a petition for rehabilitation with the court or in the grounds provided under the PREA. So pag initiate ng petition for rehabilitation can be done in or outside the court under voluntary proceedings. The filing of the petition for rehabilitation must be approved by the owner in case of a sole proprietorship, or by a majority of the partners in case of a partnership, or in case of a corporation, by majority vote of the board of directors or trustees, and authorized by the vote of the stockholders representing at least 2/3 of the understanding capital stock, or in case of non-stock corporation, by the vote of at least 2/3 of the members in a stockholders or members meeting duly called for the purpose. So under voluntary proceedings, pag sa corporation, it needs kailangan ng 2/3 of capital stock para mag-succeed. So next is a group of debtors may jointly file a petition for rehabilitation when one or more of its members foresee the impossibility of meeting debts when they respectively fall due, and the financial distress would likely adversely affect the financial condition or operations of the other members of the group, and the participation of other members of the group is essential under the terms and conditions of the proposed rehabilitation plan. So, yung mga individual debtors daw is pwedeng mag-join sila para mag-file ng petition para nga naman mapadali yung pag-gain ng benefits ng rehabilitation. Yan. Next is rehabilitation plan shall refer to a plan by which financial well-being and viability of an insolvent debtor can be restored using various means, including but not limited to debt forgiveness, debt rescheduling, reorganization or quasi-reorganization, dash-on and pago, debt equity conversion, and sale of the business as a going concern, or setting up of a new business entity or other similar arrangement as may be approved by the court or creditors. So, under involuntary proceedings naman, any creditors or group of creditors with a claim of or the aggregate of whose claim is at least 1 million, and at least 1 million or 25% of the subscribed capital or partners' contributions, whichever is higher, may initiated an involuntary proceedings against the debtor by filing a petition for rehabilitation with the court if. So may conditions din yung creditors to file against the debtor para sa petition. And these are the conditions: that there is no genuine issue of fact on law on the claims of the petitioners, and that due and demandable payments thereon have not been made for at least 60 days, or that the debtor has failed generally to meet its liabilities as they fall due, or and a creditor other than a petitioner has initiated foreclosure proceedings against the debtor that will prevent the debtor from paying its debts as they become due or will render it insolvent. So next type of rehabilitation is pre-negotiated rehabilitation. So under this proceeding, an insolvent debtor by itself or jointly with any of its creditors may file a verified petition with the court for the approval of a pre-negotiated rehabilitation plan, which has been endorsed or approved by creditors holding at least 2/3 of the total liabilities of the debtor, including securities, creditors holding more than 50% of the total security claims of the debtor, and unsecured creditors holding more than 50% of the total unsecured claims of the debtor. So meaning debtors may have or gain the benefits of rehabilitation under FRIA and will be approved by the court as long as it is endorsed or approved by their creditors holding at least two-thirds of the total liabilities, 50% of the total secured claims, and 50% of the total unsecured claims of the debtor. Yan.
So yung third types ng rehabilitation is out of court or informal restructuring agreements of rehabilitation plans. So kapag ang debtor ay nag-file ng petition o parehong debtor at creditor ang nag-file ng petition, tapos nag-negotiate sila, nag-meet at a mutually agreement ng walang assistance ng court or walang supervisions ng court, ito ay tinatawag na out of court or informal restructuring agreements or rehabilitation plan. So, kabaliktaran to ng number one, which is court supervised rehabilitation. So, yung out of court or informal restructuring agreements or rehabilitation plans ay agreements or plans na approved ng both debtors and its creditors nang walang court supervision. So, dito, nagkikita or nag-uusap ang dalawang parties upang masettle yung debtor's liability ng maayos sa pamamagitan ng pag-agree sa plano ng pag-rehabilitate ng debtors at sa pagbabayad ng utang nito. So dahil nga walang court supervision at walang ibang requirements na dapat i-comply sa type ng rehabilitation nito, may enjoy ng creditors and debtors yung advantages na mas mabilis na process at less gastos para sa both parties. So may 5 minimum requirements ang out of court or informal restructuring agreements or rehabilitation plans na kailangang ma-meet upang maging qualify ka dito sa rehabilitation na to. So una is, as a debtor, dapat agree ka sa rehabilitation na to kung saan walang court assistance or supervision. Number 2 is, approve dapat ng creditors yung at least 67 secured obligation ng debtors. Next po. So, sa number 3 is approve dapat ng creditors yung at least 75 ng unsecured obligation ng debtors. Sa 4 ay at least 85% ng secured and unsecured obligations o total liabilities ng debtor ay approve o hawak ng creditors. And lastly is dapat sinusunod nila yung standstill period. So, ano nga ba yung standstill period? Alamin natin. So, next po. So, yung standstill period ay period ng pag-agree ng both parties doon sa pending negotiations at nung finalization ng rehabilitation na to. So, 120 days lang yung period upang maging effective itong rehabilitation na to. Bawal lang lumagpas sa 120 days. Next slide. So, may agreement sa standstill period. Una is more than 50% ng total liabilities ng debtors ay approved ng creditors. Pangalawa ay yung notice ng agreement ay published dapat sa newspaper ng general circulation in the Philippines once a week for 2 consecutive weeks. Bakit? Para makahikayat ng ibang creditors na mag-participate sa negotiation ng out of court or informal restructuring agreements or rehabilitation plans at para ma-notify sila na ang rehabilitation na ito ay maghahanap ng lahat ng creditors kapag na-approve na ito. Next slide na. Yan. So, sino ang rehabilitation receiver at ano yung mga qualification niya? Ang rehabilitation receiver ay tumutukoy sa tao o mga tao, whether natural or juridical. So, itong tao na to o mga taong ito ay inappoint ng court at binigyan ng powers and duties. So, alamin natin yung natural person and juridical person. Sa natural person is ito yung individual debtor and a citizens of the Philippines. When we say juridical person, ito ay tumutukoy sa non-human legal entity like corporation and organization and dapat authorized siya ng law with the duties and rights. Next slide po. So, ano naman yung qualification ng rehabilitation receiver? First is dapat citizen ka ng Pilipinas and isa kang resident of the Philippines in the 6 months immediately preceding his nomination. Second is dapat may good moral character and acknowledge integrity, impartiality, and independence ang isang rehabilitation receiver. Next po. Yan. So yung third is dapat may knowledge sa insolvency at other relevant commercial laws, rules and procedures at also relevant training o experience na kinakailangan upang maayos na maipakita o magawa yung duties at obligations ng rehabilitation receiver. Lastly, wala dapat conflict of interest dahil itong conflict of interest na ito ay maaaring ma-waive, ma-express o ma-implied ng party na maaaring may kinikilingan. So, next po. Ano naman ang management committee at ang qualifications nito? It is composed of 3 qualified person, whether natural or juridical, na inappoint ng court. So sila yung namamahala doon sa debtor at sa karapatan at responsibilidad ng isang debtor. So may kapangyarihan silang i-control ng may pag-iingat yung lahat ng assets and properties na mayroon o pagmamayari ng debtor. Yung management committee din ay nag-a-act and nagde-decide sila based sa majority ng lahat ng members. So may sinusunod o nakalahad sa procedural rules yung qualifications ng isang management committee and same sa pag-disqualify. So as a management committee, dapat kino-consider mo yung nature ng business ng debtor and yung pangangailangan ng debtor na maprotektahan yung interest ng lahat ng stakeholders. Next slide po. So dito na tayo. So sa liquidation na tayo. Ano nga bang liquidation? Ang liquidation ay process na kung saan yung asset is kino-convert into cash. Ano naman yung liquidator? So, ang liquidator is a natural person or juridical entity. So, yung natural person is individual person and citizens here in the Philippines. Yung juridical entity naman ay organization or corporation. So, liquidator is a natural person or juridical entity na kung saan inappoint sila ng court and binigyan sila ng kapangyarihan and duties under by FRIA o Financial Rehabilitations and Insolvency Act. So, kapag daw yung liquidator ay juridical entity or corporation or organization, dapat mag-assign sila ng qualified person bilang representative and hindi din dapat disqualified yung taong yon. And dapat din na yung juridical entity and representative is nagkakaisa at alam nila yung lahat ng obligations and responsibilities bilang liquidator. So, yung liquidation is pwedeng voluntary and involuntary. Next po. So, sa voluntary liquidations, yung debtor na hindi makapagbayad ng utang is pwedeng mag-apply para sa liquidation by filing a petition for liquidation kasama ang court. Dapat yung petition ay verified at dapat naka-establish din yung insolvency o yung situation ng debtor na hindi makabayad ng utang. Dapat din nilalaman ng petition na ito ang mga sumusunod. So, next po. Una is dapat nakalagay sa petition yung utang ng debtor, pati yung list ng pinagkakautangan niya, kasama yung address, yung amount ng claims and collaterals o pati yung securities. Next is kasama din yung inventory ng lahat ng assets, kasama yung receivables and claims against sa third parties. Next po. Kasama rin sa petition yung names ng possible na maging liquidator. At least 3 names for nominees sa position ng liquidator yung dapat nakalist. So kapag yung debtor is naging insolvent is ayun yung hindi makabayad ng utang. So kapag nga yung debtor is naging insolvent, ang pwedeng maging way to solve the obligation of the debtor is rehabilitation or liquidation proceedings. So kanina natakil na yung 3 types ng rehabilitation. So during the rehabilitation proceedings, kapag yung business is hindi nag-bounce back, pwedeng i-order ng court na i-convert yung rehabilitation proceedings into liquidation proceedings. So, pwedeng mag-initiate si debtor sa liquidation proceedings by filing a motion doon sa same court ng nag-order sa kanila or sa kanya na i-convert yung rehabilitation sa proceedings into liquidation proceedings. So, next slide po. So, yan. So, kapag yung petition or yung motion is sufficient in form and substance, dapat i-issue ng korte ang liquidation order. Ang isang debtor na hindi na kayang makabayaran o makover ng kanyang properties yung kanyang liabilities at yung kanyang utang ay lagpas 500,000 pesos na, is pwedeng mag-apply ng petition upang ma-discharge ito. Kailangan niya lang mag-file ng verified petition sa court sa province or city ng kanyang tinitirhan ng 6 months o higit pa simula nung siya ay nag-file ng petition. Kailangan niyang i-attach sa kanyang petition yung schedule of debts and liabilities kasama yung inventory of assets. So, this filing petition is an act of insolvency. Next slide po. Sa case naman ng involuntary liquidation, pwedeng mag-apply or mag-seek ng liquidation of an insolvent debtor yung tatlo o higit pang creditors na nagke-claim at least 1 million pesos o at least 25% ng subscribed capital stock or partners contribution ng debtors. Kung sinong may pinakamataas sa kanilang claims is siya yung pwedeng mag-apply ng petition by filing a petition of liquidation ng debtor with court. So, ipinapakita ng petition na ito ang mga sumusunod. Next. Una is wala dapat issue sa claims ng petitioners at yung payment ay hindi nabayaran within 180 days o nag-failed yung debtor na ma-meet niya yung liabilities. Second is walang kasiguraduhan na marirehabilitate pa yung debtor. Next po. So habang o after ng rehabilitation, court supervised or ng pre-negotiated rehabilitation proceedings is pwedeng mag-initiate ng liquidation proceeding ang creditor sa pamamagitan ng pag-file ng motion doon sa court na kung saan nag-order o may hawak nung pag-convert ng rehabilitation proceedings into liquidation proceedings. Next po. Sa case naman ng individual debtor, magaganap lang yung involuntary liquidation kapag yung creditor or creditors na may claims or kabuuang claims ng at least 500 pesos ay nag-file ng verified petition for liquidation with the court ng province or city na tinitirhan ni debtor. Next slide na po. So, yun po yung aming topic which is Lesson 3, Financial Rehabilitation and Insolvency Act of or PREA. Next na. Yun lang po. Thank you po.